Yes, we are here. We got it all set up. So I'm alone. This is going to be a solo podcast. I think it's due diligence, or it's in my right to to speak on my message and contributions, etc., etc. But just to set the tone immediately off the bat, we got candles on. We got our Johnny. This is actually the first time I'm using these big ass ice cubes. Can you hear that? Yep. Still just as good. All right, so let's kick it right away. We're in the comfort of my own home, and I have quite the fit on. So I am rocking the 2022, and I'm actually currently watching I'd be lying if I said I didn't have the live stream up on the computer right now, but currently watching Chris chase and get his fourth. Just phenomenal, insane human being. I can't believe he's actually a human being. But without further ado, this my bodybuilding. So first of all, thank you to everyone who actually took the time to respond to that questionnaire. 79 questions. A few repeats, 79 questions. And my promise to you guys was it was going to remain anonymous. So I didn't know how to do that anonymous link. I tried to find it really fast, and it was too much of an effort in terms of go here, go to the website, download it, and I'm just no, not doing that. So my promise to you guys was you guys were going to ask me the questions. I knew they were going to be from you, obviously, right? Just ask on the Instagram questionnaire shit. But my promise to you guys was not to bring it to light because I know a lot of this stuff, and I got some hard questions. So first and foremost, super thanks to everybody who allowed themselves to become that vulnerable, because I also know most people who are in this career or even as an enthusiast, we're fighting demons one way or another. I don't care who you are. I don't care what walk of life you're from. You're in the gym because you want to better yourself, and it's just not the regular day-to-day, the regular day-to-day wins and journeys and stuff like that is just not enough. You just want to better yourself as a whole, which I think everybody should do. I honestly think everybody should do. But I got a lot of questions. I'm not answering all 79 on this one. I'm going to make probably this. Maybe, I don't want to make this more than an hour, if I'm being completely honest. Maybe 45 minutes because I am alone and I can speak. And not to make it short, but there's a lot of questions. So maybe I'll categorize them, whatever. But I did choose 5. So main reason why this one might be a little shorter is because I'm going to be introducing myself in terms of where I started my career, or as a hobbyist enthusiast, right? Because only now is it a career. But I actually started off powerlifting. So just a little background before I get into the questions, because I want you guys to know me as, as a person before an athlete and before even a coach. I started as a powerlifter, both me and my younger brother. My younger brother is actually the one that got me into the gym. I got a super late start, and sometimes it kicks me in the ass, and I get in my head and oh, I wish I would have started sooner, but I didn't, so fuck it. My younger brother Basil, I think I was 20 or 21, maybe late 19 when we started going, because I remember Georgie, who was on the last podcast, we used to go to New York Sports Club once a week. He would come here. This is back on that other podcast that we were talking about when Georgie used to go to Mercy. He would come down here occasionally and spend time if he didn't want to be at the apartment. So Georgie and Basil were already going occasionally with my oldest cousin, not to get confused with my older brother, oldest brother Dimitri, but I do have a cousin named Dimitri as well. Welcome to the Greek family. We're all named the fucking same. But they started going to New York Sports Club. I started joining them. Georgie kind of just got busy with school because he was older than me. I was the middle. Basil was the youngest. And me and Basil were a year apart. So we were just neck and neck, just constantly doing the whole newbie gain, head ass, like incorrect deadlifting right off the bat. But man, when me and him started, and I think that's why like this statement resonates throughout my entire career. When we started, we were just like all in. If we were stupid, we were stupid. Like we were just literally convicted with like, this is what we're doing. So super long story short, time goes on and me and Basil decided that like, and I don't think we were always working out together. We went at separate times, but we decided that like, yo, we're pretty fucking strong. We were both naturally strong. Again, super like shutting the career down. I mean, shutting the story down really short. Me and Basil did a powerlifting competition, my first and only, and we both broke state records and set. I think Basil broke a junior, I broke a state, and then Basil broke 2 because he was a junior, and I broke only 1 because I was a state. And I believe it was USAPL. It was in New Rochelle at one of our buddies' gyms, Absolute Strength or Absolute Recomp. I don't even forgot his name too. Andrew. He hosted it, sanctioned everything, the whole 9. That little powerlifting guy with the pirate suit, whatever his name is, everybody knows him because he's at all the local meets. He was the one officiating, or like announcing, not officiating, I'm sorry. And, me and Basil continued, right, obviously the gym path of just training and being strong and being shit like that. Trained together, prepped together, did that show together, did that competition together, that stage, the platform time, because powerlifting. And, I was just like, I keep getting hurt. I was doing, I think, at the time, just a little more. I was older, so my financial route in terms of, like, money and business moves and this and that and work as a whole, I was just a little busier than Basil, so my situation was a little different. And powerlifting, I was just like, I'm getting hurt, I'm not recovering, and I wasn't eating the part either, because eventually I'm going to show my, like, blow up, but I was a skinny boy. Not to say I'm like a mass monster now, but I'm very proud at how far I've come and how much more I have to go. Because I think I'm only doing this half a decade. I think half a decade or a little over half a decade. So still like super young into the scene. Super young into the scene. So we kind of just drifted. Again, just like poor decisions we made on both of our parts, and that's not the point of this, but like we just went different ways. Basil continued to powerlift, and Basil ate like a monster. Basil competed, I think, at 80 or 90 kilos. It was like 83 or 91, and I did 67, so it was like I was 140-ish. Basil was like, I think like 180. Don't mark me on that. They're both on Instagram. You guys can scroll back. It was a couple of years ago. But Basil continued that route. I didn't, and I was like, well, wait, I think I look good. And then like that's where kind of the dream started, right? And who I first started watching growing up was actually Christian at Alpha Elite. And this is kind of where my story starts, because I remember Christian from when he had the 370Z in like a gym the size of my garage where I keep the GTR. And that was a decade ago. So I was even like induced, or like visually measuring the scene without even being a part of it. I was like, this looks cool, right? Christian kind of set the tone from the back. This before Alpha Elite was even a thing. It was still Christian Guzman Fitness. I remember, like just watching him, I was like, that's just fucking cool. Like this guy is, like not. I mean, in my eyes, he was living the dream, because like the journey is the dream, in my opinion. So he was literally going out there, going to different gyms and like getting kicked out for recording, and like just starting up his personal training stuff and stuff like that. And obviously, it's easier now than it was for him back then, but like him genuinely caring for people is what, and that's like a key term right there, is what set him apart from the most, if not everyone. And he starts a company, Alpha Elite Athletics, and I'm like, shit. Like, this is wild. He's doing athlete videos. Russell Ori was his first ever athlete. He was a powerlifter. I'm like, go fucking figure. So always had that like that strength foundation behind the both of us, behind myself and Basil, because that's how we started. That's how Basil continued, and that's how I went a different route with bodybuilding. And then Christian is competing, because not to get confused with Chris Bumstead, because he's another part of the story. Christian starts competing, and and then I don't even know when Summer Shredding started, because Summer Shredding was not the show. Well, it is the show that I won, but Summer Shredding to Christian was personal, because Summer Shredding was just an event he did, and a lot of you guys don't even know. And I was gonna start doing it, paying homage to his, because Summer Shredding to Christian was personal. It was him stepping on stage in the summer, shredding down in the summer. To him, that was like the title of the series that he was personally undergoing. And fast forward to now, like, he's literally doing shows. So, like, amazing. And props to you, because, like, I remember when we were talking, and, like, he had just nothing. And he's starting to compete and this and that, and I'm just like, and my older brother did work out. Mom and dad did it. My older brother just went, like, recreationally, just kind of, like, went because it was a thing that, like, most males do. And I come from an athletic background, playing soccer for decades, or at least a decade. But it feels like forever. I played it my whole life before the gym. And going even back before, like, we even continue with the story, that's my whole background, is just being an athlete. No weightlifting, no resistance training, nothing in the weight room other than, like, just like maybe explosive training, but no squatting, no nothing, like literally zero in a weight room. So now fast forward to, like, where we just added in the story. And I'm like, let me fucking shoot my shot. So I'm starting, like, I reach out to Alberto. I reach out to Yucky. Which is Chris Lovato. Again, a lot of Chris's, but Chris Lovato was one of the first ever Gymshark athletes. Communicating with him, and I'm still in touch with him. Even offered to potentially work with me and stuff like that. So a lot of good guys I know in my corner that I don't really, like, talk about, but they're, like, there when I need them and stuff like that in terms of motivation and this and that. So Chris, Christian Guzman, Chris Lovato, and obviously Chris Bumstead, those are my main. And talking to Alberto, which is part of Team 3D MJ, which is 3D Muscle Journey, and they only train natural athletes. And again, I don't know, I have to say this, but I'm 200% natural. There's no speculation. Like, if you even have that concept of I'm on something, you gotta click off right now, because I'd be a monster if I was on something, and I know that. Trust me. I don't even think I can take, because of underlying conditions. I think I would literally shave years off of my life, like, more so than a regular gear user would. But that's to be determined. So, but as of right now, like, as natural as grass-fed beef gets. And I'm like, all right, well, let me do a show, right? So started, first run was Summer Shredding. And again, that went from, like, I stopped powerlifting to, like, a year and a half went on, and then I was like, all right, I had to make the transition into, like, all right, I have to work on, quite literally, just at the time, I remember my thought process. I was like, I have to bring up certain things a little more. It wasn't so much I have to bring up my delts, I have to bring up my hamstrings, I was just like, okay, my torso sucks, right? I didn't have the terminology, I didn't have this, I didn't have that, but I did have the drive to get bigger on a general standpoint, in terms of, like, are my caps, are my delts capping, like, not to the extent at which I knew now. So generally justifying what I needed at the time was, I just need to, like, look the part, right? Because I had the natural strength and the foundation, which taught me a lot, and it gave me a platform and a base. I just needed to, like, all right, like, let's announce, let's enunciate the muscles, like, let's just pronounce them. And Christian starts doing Summer Shredding. I was like, this is it. Like, if this is meant for me, like, right, going back, the reason why I said it was meant for me, because, like, that's how I saw Christian start. I had the opportunity to prove my, worth, right? That was my thought process at the time. Won, and everything changed. That's when everything changed. Well, everything honestly changed when I decided to step on that show, but everything really changed because now I'm acknowledging that life is happening. Dan, me and Dan are communicating. Dan with Get Raw Nutrition and Revive, the head of like the athlete management and stuff like that for sponsorships. Changed everything. Got the sponsorship a year after, right? So I was sponsored by Alpha Lead as well, because when you win summer shredding, you get X amount of months with them in terms of like. So that was actually my first sponsorship that like died out completely, because I was like, I didn't know what a sponsorship was, and everybody thinks it's easy, but I had to just generate sales, which I wasn't. A lot of girls were running my codes up, or was running my code up, because a lot of guys just like, we buy clothes once and it's like, okay, like I'm not gonna keep buying. At least like, well, most males that like I'm in cahoots with in terms of like and like on a like an athletic level and stuff like that, we're not buying clothes. We're not doing like buying clothes like every month. You know what I mean? Like like most guys won't buy clothes like that much, so they'll buy it, but like they're not gonna buy every drop. Is the point being? So girls were like, another color came out, let me buy 4 different sizes because I'm gonna cut and gain at the same time. You know, like so. Girls were running it up a lot more, and I did have traction, this and that, but I just wasn't fit for the part. I wasn't fit for service, and I lost it. And I'm not afraid to admit that. Like I said, I don't know what happens in the future. But we were just communicating in terms of like, is that the route I want to go? And I didn't necessarily see the vision with Alpha Elite, with how I wanted to line myself up within our community and what message I wanted to put forward. Not that there's anything wrong with it. It's just I didn't want to be associated with that. And insert Dan, right? Get Raw Nutrition, the whole 9. Communicating, and everything changed. As far as that, as quick as that yes happened, is as quick as like everything changed. So, we made the team, got the code, whatever, yada yada, the whole 9. October comes around. This past October comes around, and we get personal invitations to meet Chris, Dan. Now again, Chris Bumstead. So Chris, Dan, and Matt, and Dom. I'm sorry, like the whole Raw Nutrition team, but like those are like our leader. Like Matt Berzicott, all of them, the leaders. And we go down there for a whole weekend. Not a penny was paid by any of us. Hotels were taken care of. Food was taken care of. This was taken care of. Transportation, gym time, products. We have the personal, I have the YianniBravo and the personal Raw gear that like no one got, minus like the few who were down there, like the 2 Tony. I think it was 3 Tonys, Austin. A lot of names I'm forgetting, but those are the few that like stuck out to me, because like those are the ones that like I related to the most. And I'm like, like this can't be real. Like people fight and pay like thousands and thousands of dollars to, and like even the bill to get Chris to Nashville on Olympia, like that, people pay for Chris to be around them. And like that was really special for me to like be like hand invited, by Dan. Like, thank you, because none of that is possible without Dan. But just doing my part and doing my due diligence, because like I couldn't find myself on a better team. I didn't want to be on another team. I'm not a guy that's just sponsored by everybody out of the ass. Raw and Revive are brother and sister to each other, and I don't want to be a part of another team, if I'm being completely honest. We have Titan leading, like the highest in the industry. That Dom is just a shark. Chris. Bumstead is gonna be 4th-time Olympia. And Matt is like the epitome of coaching when it comes, like hearing Matt talk. I didn't even know Matt before the weekend, and hearing him talk changed my entire life, from a coaching perspective, because that's what I'm now endeavoring on / want my career to go. And it's why like literally all this is going on. And everything changed. I'm like, why? And it took me some time. I took some time off social media, and I'm like, why us, right? Why did Chris invite, and like to personalize it to me, right? Because the other guys got brought down, but to reflect internally with myself, like, why did I get invited down? Why am I, like this and that? And, when they go down there, and I'm not going to repeat any information you can leave. I'm going to probably leave in the channel of this podcast the 3 Florida videos. And one, most importantly, where like we literally just sat down and talked with Chris, Dom, and Matt and the other Matt, for literally like 3 hours, and Vaughn and Grant. How can I forget them? But I'm just like, damn, like Mr. Olympia wants to talk to me. Like I was overwhelmed. I remember texting Gianna, and I was just like flustered. I couldn't put sentences together, and I was literally like, dude, shit, like, why me? So it took a lot of time for me to reflect, and I was just like, like I have a niche for this stuff, and like now to bring it full circle, and why Matt changed a lot over the weekend when I thought it was gonna be Chris, and even Dom changed my life too. But Matt really just stuck out because, like I said, I wanted to do that as a coach and as an athlete and as an individual, just grow within the sport and service my community one way or another and do my part. And I want to say, like what initially got me into it. I'm sorry, I have some of the questions down here. What initially I got into was like something bigger than me, right? And I think Chris actually said it best. Bum said, he was like, as long as I can personally grow, help my friends and family, and give to my community, then like I won't stop doing what I'm doing. And like that's what I'm doing right now. I'm personally growing, chasing a pro card, and gonna be helping, little hack, but gonna be helping Gianna get her pro card. That's gonna be like my first like testimony. I can't wait for her to get it this year, because that's without a doubt we're doing that. And helping the community now, just quite literally being a coach to people like who I don't even know about, and like quite literally the questionnaire on Instagram. That's what I'm saying. Like that's my part. What I want to do, I want to help people because I know how hard this shit can get. I know sometimes the gym is not just a gym. The gym is not just weight to some people. The gym is answers to something that doesn't have an answer. Like a question that can't be answered, and we don't know the term or what to say or how to say it or how to feel. We just go to the gym and we beat ourselves up. And that is the third question, but I guess it can now be the second question because you're not really like, when it comes to mental clarity and like the insecurities and like even just from a mental standpoint, because I'm gonna go to a structural because I got a lot of discussion on body dysmorphia and all that stuff, but from like a mental point, like I don't know. I don't know if you guys are going to like this answer, but like I don't know if the gym is all of it. So I'll just say that because now I'm thinking in my head. It is a part of it and it does help. But I don't know if that's going to be your one and done answer. Because like a lot of the times, and I felt it, like I can go to a gym session with like 1,000 things on my mind, like, like damn, there's a GTR, right? Like right now, like does the GTR need to be built? Like how much more money can I put into the GTR? Like how much better can I progress myself as a coach, as for work and this and that, and like building the website and the brand and all this and all that, and like a lot going on for me for an individual, rather than just like I have work tomorrow. And not that there's anything wrong with that, but like me trying to do more than like the average person is like there's a lot on my plate. And not that you guys don't, but again, like everybody has their personal issues, but talking from my perspective, I do get it. Because I can go to the gym, come back home, and everything's fine. But then as soon as that, like, adrenaline and all of that drops, it's like, what did you really do? But now on the, like, a lot of times we're just stale and we don't have answers. And all we did was, and then you're not going to like this answer. And we procrastinated. Obviously, we did, I guess, maybe you can say a healthy procrastination. I don't know. That might be like a fucking a conjunction right there in and of itself of like words playing against each other. But like I think you can kind of feel or hear what I'm saying in terms of like you could have been doing something else, but you did go to the gym, but now you quite literally did waste time and you didn't find answers. But now where the saving grace and that silver lining is in that statement is we have to allow the gym to do what it's supposed to do. So I want you guys to know that, yes, it can give you mental clarity, but it's not going to give you all the answers. So where the shift has to come is like, if you're having a hard time making a decision, this is not, and you can't necessarily make it right now at this point in time, but you go to the gym and then you come home with clarity and like execution on like what decision you're going to make. I'm not saying think about it for the whole session. Like go do what you're doing and leave your shit at the door. Because that's something a lot of you can't do. Like, and that is quite literally a hack. Leave your shit at the door, because if you can't leave that shit, if you bring that shit into the gym, you're gonna have shitty gym sessions, you're gonna have this, you're gonna have that. So if you could try your best to just leave it all at the check-in counter, and then when you come home with a plan and like some authority and like some conviction, like to execute like whatever the problem is or whatever's going on in your life. Like if it's relational, if it's financial, if it's like this, if it's like that. Just work on yourself every day. I know it sounds corny, but like that's just it. And obviously anything I'm going to say in this podcast that you want me to elaborate on more and maybe I stopped short or like you didn't hear me properly or comprehended me properly, reach out to me, please. Like, this is what I'm trying to do. This is one of the points on how I want to give back to my community on top of coaching. And you guys expressing vulnerability to me in terms of asking the questions, I'm now doing it to you because you guys are now hearing me. I'm able to put a voice. I'm able to give you guys a voice to the face, to the feelings, to how can we get through it, because that's what I want for literally everybody. This is not like a sappy, because like I know how hard this shit can get, and I've been through all of it, the depression, anxiety, the like almost pulling that trigger metaphor, like it's like, and that's a soft spot for me. But like I feel like anybody who really has like is like I'll say an elite athlete or above average athlete in terms of like either you're really strong or you look above average or above the par on any part. It's because you've been through some real shit and you just go, and a lot of times the answer is just beating the shit out of your body. And no one feels that more than me. And I'm gonna say that, right? No one's been through what I've been through, but like we all have. Like we all say that, and even me saying it, but I guess being a little bit more enlightened with my senses in terms of like who we are as humans. We've all been through the same shit. So for me, even to say no one's been through what I've been through, I know that's a dumb thing for me to say because we're all just going through something differently. My demons aren't yours and yours aren't mine, but what are they? They're still demons. They're still something we gotta either make friends with or put them away. Like there's no in between. You can't let those motherfuckers idle because they're just gonna eat you. And question number 2, what should have been number 2, but is now going to be number 3. How do you know who to listen to and who to not? And that is tough. That is tough because we live in a generation right now where everybody is a lawyer, a doctor, a coach, a entrepreneur, a wannabe, like everybody is everything. Because of just social media. We think we have the authority to speak on a topic when we have actually no clue what the fuck we're talking about. Like me and Andy were talking about nutritionists last night. And me and him were both versed on the topic. Like we were great with our words and our terminology. I mean, I just used a terminology that he wasn't so, I don't know, fond of, but like, not fond of. Sorry. But just a term that he didn't necessarily like, and it didn't he wasn't just comprehending. Not that he didn't comprehend it. It's just the terminology was it was a disconnect. So we were talking on it, and we hit like a point where just again through communication, which is beautiful. Talk to your fucking friends. We reached a level ground where it's like, okay, I kind of agree with you, but I don't like your terminology. Okay, sick. Like, I mean? Like, that was just it. But before going off on that tangent, how do you know who to listen to and who not to? Well, like if Andy was quite literally a nobody, I wouldn't have explained why I used said terminology versus the other. Because if Andy or myself, right, for example, because that's just what we're talking about, if I didn't care for Andy and Andy didn't care for me, then like what's the point of the discussion? Am I going to try to prove him wrong or right? And a lot of the times I did, and I'm sure I can speak on his behalf and say a lot of times he did too, but that's just wasting time. If there's no one that's actually going to care for you in terms of like having your best interests at heart, I don't know if you should be listening to them. I don't know that because everybody's got a fucking answer nowadays. Everybody knows everything. And we don't know shit. We have like all the answers, like, and I don't even know if they're answers and stuff like that, but like we just don't. If we're in such an informational age, right? And like the way our community makes it is bridging the gap between like simplifying it and feeding it to the younger, metaphorically speaking, feeding it to the younger generation to try to make them understand it and comprehend it a little more. If the knowledge is just knowledge, if you know what you know, like a macro is a macro, an incline dumbbell press is an incline dumbbell press, how do you know if I should listen to somebody who doesn't care for me or does. And it's just, I mean, it's a stupid answer. It's a stupid question because we already know the answer. You're obviously just going to go to the person that cares for you more because they have the best interest at your heart. Like, if someone actually knows you and cares for you and has your best interest at heart, the knowledge is a byproduct. And then by then, we're not just coaching the process, we're coaching the person. You know, I don't want to just have a client that's like, hey, 180 protein a week and, hit me up at the end of the week and, like, let me know how you're looking and, No, like, the way I'm trying to do it is you guys have full, for those who are going to choose to work with me, you have full access to me. And that's a heavy load, and that's why I can't kind of just, floodgates can't be open, but, like, they're officially open. This is what I'm now doing full time. And, like, that's what I want to do. Like, that's what I'm saying, because a lot of, like, we're at a very, like, weird spot in life. Like, everybody wants to be vegan, and meat is, like, the devil stuff. Like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. We're allowing males to be, like, soft and submissive, and I don't know if that's necessarily right. I don't know. Because, like, the way I grew up, it was just, and you guys, if you guys have tuned into my other podcast, which I'm going to push you guys to, but a lot of little nuggets I dropped at the time. I didn't have a soft upbringing, and neither did any of my friends. Anybody who I actually would publicly call a friend, they've never had a soft upbringing. So we're just, like, very diverse in terms of, like, making sure that we just have to do whatever it takes. And again, I'm talking on the male spectrum, but, like, we just have to do what it takes. There's no, like, I feel like shit, I feel like that, you just got to get up and do the work. I mean, there's no better way to say it. But again, like, without going too far off on that tangent, me becoming a better coach and being accountable to all the clients that choose to work with me and the friends that, like, want to invest in me and stuff like that, is no one's going to care how much you know until they know how much you care. Because, like I said, knowledge is knowledge. Like, it just is. It just is. That's a definite. Nutritionists, macros are just it. You can't change it. No matter how much you believe, maybe a protein is not as much of another protein, it's not going to change anything. And that's my problem, because, like, trying to bridge the gap between, like, nonsense and making it applicable to a generation, it's just, like, the patience is, like, smaller than a fucking pube. But no one's going to care how much you know until they know how much you care. So until they know that you give a shit and have their best interests at heart, they're probably not going to listen to you. And honestly, some of them still do, because some of them just need, like, a cookie cutter program. But that's what I'm saying. Like, that's where the beauty of all this lies, is it comes down to, and the third part is I put down accountability and communication. Because somebody might just be like, yo, I know what a macro is. I know what this is. I know what that is. Like, can you just give me like, I'm lost programming. I know how to eat. I know how to, and then on the flip end, I'm training like an animal, but I'm not recovering. I'm not doing this. All right, so, like, what's your sleep patterns? Are you sleeping? How much are you sleeping throughout the day? Do you nap? What do you do for work? Like, all that stuff. Are you eating right? Like, are you eating properly? I'm sorry, that was the whole point. Are you eating properly? Like, are you eating sufficiently? Are you eating, like, are you getting the amount of protein? I mean, a lot of us are malnutrition in protein. And, like, that's a big, big problem. A lot of us are malnutrition in protein. And that's another, like, thing that's, like, debunked in terms of, like, we're trying to, like, make this process. And, again, it's really simple. We're really trying to, like, make a process so difficult when in reality, right? Because we all say it. If I ate right and trained right, I would look amazing. And, yeah, you would. But, like, why aren't you? And, like, it's not a smart ass question, but, or, an answer to a question, or, like, a smart remark, and that's a smart remark in that sense. But it's just like, right, well, life happens, right? You have work, you got a girl, you got a wife, you got kids, you got, like, whatever, you got bills, right? We know that. But then that's where a good coach, and, like, a good mentor, whatever you want to label them, comes into play, because it's like you could quite literally get the same, if not better, results from somebody that can work out 3 days a week and a young kid that can, like doesn't have a bill in the world and can work out 8 days a week, right? And that was actually sarcasm, so don't go over your head. You can't work out 8 days a week. But point being is like, yeah, if there's a full ass husband who has to supply for 2 kids and a stay at home mom, then yeah, like their workout's gonna be a little different. Their structure for the week is gonna be a little different. But that's where accountability and communication and XYZ falls into play, because like if you can't do that, if at the end of the month I'd rather you, or like at the end of the week I'd rather you be like, hey, I have, I don't come to me and just say, hey, I have shoulder pains. Be like, hey, on this day when I was doing said exercise, this is what flared up. How can we fix it? Or how can I alter it and do it better? And that's where we'll either break down the movement, see what's going on. Are you I'm going to first check form, this, and that, right? Just to run through the example. Make sure everything is dotting I's and crossing T's. And if everything's textbook to the point of like the way your technique and the execution of the movement goes down, and it's like textbook, and you're like just still getting discomfort, and as time goes on it nags and becomes a pain, then we just don't do that. There's another thing we can do that maybe doesn't put your shoulder, again, for the example, running in a vulnerable position. And this doesn't mean like me jumping down this realm and all that stuff is like, it doesn't mean I have all the answers. It doesn't. Like I there's not a coach that's gonna have all the answers. I'm not gonna know everything. I'm gonna tell you that like, hey, if there's something I don't know, I may not say I don't know, like blatantly be like I don't know, but I'll be like, yeah, let me look into it. Let me see if I can reach out to Matt, Dom, whoever. Like I know a lot of people. I don't know a lot of answers, but I know a lot of people, and I'd rather know people than answers, because knowing all the answers makes you a lonely person. I'd rather have a fucking team full of people who know a little bit of everything than like one person who knows everything, because then I'm just one person who knows everything with no reach and no output, which is where I was stuck, because I was just silent for a long time. But ever since I started vocalizing and putting myself out there with YouTube, I didn't even tell you that part of the journey, but I started YouTube leading up to Summer Shredding, and then the whole me doing YouTube and winning Summer Shredding helped me to get on Raw with Dan and all that. Like all of this. So you guys are literally watching it unfold, I pray every night, but, for me to become great and leave my mark on the community and continue to do so with a group full of fucking leaders and savages. And it's just, I'm not gonna know everything, but like I will find you the answer. I will get the answer. I promise you that. And if it's, and odds are it's never something like that hard, but if it's like something amazingly like, or I'm sorry, that's the wrong term, but if something like so impossible that like we're just gonna figure it out together, because that's what we do as humans. We just figure it out. But odds are it's never like anything. There's not a problem out there that's like that nobody hasn't been through, in my opinion. So someone's going through something, and all we got to do is talk. And yeah, I mean, then to bring it, sorry, I'm just like running down because we answered a lot of the questions. I just want to see where we're at. Oh, let's go. We're like 40 minutes in. That's kind of perfect. And yeah, I mean, like, okay, running off of the problem, like no one knows what you're going through. That's where the coach in me turns off, literally. And I'm serious, guys. Like if you don't really know, and this is my part, I'm trying to do my part. I'm trying to make myself uncomfortable. And I don't think I did such a hot job in this podcast in terms of like talking about my truths and stuff like that, because of the questions that I got were very like, how do I deal with it? Or like, how did I start, right? So this one's like maybe not so deep, and it's going to be more of an introduction. But in terms of like, doing my part as a coach, and just as a friend, like when you're using something, coach, mentor, whatever, like you're supplying a service, I'm supplying a service, and you're giving me monetary value, and I have to do my part. And it goes so much further beyond that, because like as just a human, whether you're paying me or not, like I'm serious, because I've done this for free, so like I don't have to stress this, but just care, just give a fuck about just people. I don't care whether you're working with them or not. We gotta be more gentle. We are in a very like man, a lot of people are close, man, to like that fucking line that I hate talking about. But it's like, because no one's talking, man. Everybody's silenced, and it's disheartening. But like at the same time, like I love people who are just, you know who I look at in the gym? The motherfucker who's alone in between a rest with their music on. I see them heavy breathing. They're bobbing to their music. They maybe check down to either switch their one song or like text back their girlfriend or something like that, or just like that one friend that's texting them, and they put their phone away and they go back and do their set. I'm not looking at the people who are going to the gym and you're going with like a group full of guys or girls. Because like you guys just quite literally, you haven't been hurt. And look, and the reason why I'm saying I'm not yearning towards those people is because there's nothing wrong with you guys. There's nothing wrong with you guys. You guys are having fun, and I hope you're making gains in the process. But you guys are just, you found your group, and God willing, I hope you don't get hurt. Or like you don't, but like odds are if you're just living life, something's going to happen. Girl's going to fuck you over, guys going to fuck you over, friends are going to turn you back, like whatever fucking dilemma you think you're going through, and you swear nobody's gone through it, insert it here. And then that's where the villain arc begins. And that's where most of us and most of the people that are listening to this podcast are going to be like, yeah, because there was that turning point in your life where you're like, fuck it, I'm just going to literally go and better myself. And I'm not trying to sound motivational or hype, because like I don't often do that. It's more discipline from my end. But that's where you're just like, I know what I have to do. Not what I want to do. I know what I have to do. And look, it may not be just quite literally stepping on a bodybuilding stage or stepping on a powerlifting platform, but you just know that you have to better yourself. And look, taking care of physical health is just reason in and of itself. You don't have to step on stage. You don't have to step on a platform. My family tree comes from 2 losses of health issues. Both on the heavier side, both obese, and a byproduct to that. Lungs collapsing, heart failure, diabetes, you name it. And that's my why. And like one of my biggest messages was, and it's a soft spot for me, but getting my father to quit smoking. Because that's what took my mom's dad, my grandfather, on top of the underlying issues of just not taking care of weight. Again, different times, right? My grandparents were immigrants. My father's an immigrant. So different times, different traditional, right? Like the way they look at like just like the food chain and life, and it's just different. They're not talking about the gym. They're talking about getting their family free. So totally different fucking conversation. They're trying to get on U.S. soil and make a difference for us. And a lot of you guys want to know my why, and that was it. I don't even know if the mic caught the breakup or like the, the fluster in my eye or like the trembleness in my voice, but like that's it. Free enterprise. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing. I can't work a job. I can't. It's not enough for me. I'm not contributing enough. And I'm not talking down on jobs, but like I can't just work for 40 years and just have a paycheck to show for it. I can't do that. I can't. If I know just this changes one life, that's all I fucking want. That's it. I don't care about the monetary value of this stuff. I don't. It's nice that, it's there. Don't get me wrong. You can't pay bills with a hug and a kiss. But like to know on the reciprocating end of it is I get to change a life as opposed to just I got paid. I can't even that's a podcast alone on gratitude and gratefulness. It's why I'm doing what I'm doing, and it's why I made the risks I made, and why I'm at where I'm at right now, and I'm so blessed, and it's why I want to like expose to you guys that I want to fucking help you guys, because you guys just working with me might change your entire fucking life. And look, here's the kicker: I don't care about the fucking gym right now. When I'm doing this with you guys and helping you guys, 90% of the picture is out of the gym. Because guess what? You just got to eat well and lift good. Gym problem solved. Right? And maybe you'll gain some mental clarity in it. But if you're only going to the gym to move weights, you're missing 90% of the picture. Because I guarantee you, everybody that's moving well, eating well, and getting proper rest, I'm not even saying to the T, just doing a little more than what most aren't, you feel a little better about your day. But you want to know why most fitness people change the fucking world, or at the very least their community? Is because they just know you can't go to the gym, like 4 weeks in a row, look in the mirror, and everything's going to change. Why most fitness influencers, inspirations, whatever you want to fucking label us, are successful, because we understand the discipline that we have to work years on fucking end just to scratch the surface. I mean that. Scratch the surface. I've been doing this for half a decade. I'm just now popping out. Just now. But this version of me that everybody's like, holy fuck, who is this kid? You guys have no idea, because this me was the me that couldn't talk 6 years ago. This me is the me 6 years ago I needed to become, no matter how uncomfortable. And now fast forward now, and it's like I'm meeting Chris. I'm sitting down having dinner with Chris Bumstead. Dom, part of a fantastic team. Met Christian, one of my biggest fucking, one of my biggest idols growing up, and still is. And I can now call, what's crazy when you're, like, my idols were my friends, are my friends now. I don't even like that term, or I don't like role models either, but like the people I looked up to, I can literally have dinner with. Guys, I can't make that up. I'm capturing it visually. I'm showing you guys like that. This is my dream, guys, and like I'm a nobody. I'm a kid in fucking Valhalla. That's fucking, And that's just in bodybuilding. I love my career outside of bodybuilding. I mean, it's just the car stuff. And I've been building that, and that's a complete tangent, but that's a complete different side note. But this is one part of me, and I'm doing so well, and like I'm proud of myself. We don't say that enough. I don't say it enough. I just fucking call myself my own words. I don't say it enough. Be proud of like where we're at, guys. And more than anything, seriously, like I'm trying to bring that statement I was saying that like I don't really care about the gym. Obviously, I care about the gym. I want you guys to make physical and mental gains. But like I want to just help you guys through life, where if you're paying with me, for me to work with you, you got a friend for life, and it's not monetarily, because like people who are working with me, I'm not an easy person to work with. I'm not an easy friend to hang out with. I'm the hardest person to fucking love. I am the hardest person to fuck with. I don't even fuck with myself sometimes. I'm a difficult person because I want great things. And that often means like I say that I don't fuck with myself to fuck around, but a lot of times I can't put up with my own shit. I just can't put up with my own excuses, and it's like that's why the gym to me was the fucking answer. And it always will be the answer. But now I have to do my part as a human being, give it back to you guys. And in terms of like beating yourself up, right? Because the last question is body dysmorphia, and it's, or actually, I'm sorry. Let's go body dysmorphia and social media. Actually, you know what? I don't want to touch on body dysmorphia. No, you know what? Actually, I do. Because it is important, because it goes back to what I was saying before. Like, how can you, right? I mean, like, do you go into a job and expect to be the CEO? No, you got to work at it. So like when you're going through phases of like leaning and cutting and bulking and doing this and doing that. Yeah, I mean, like, are you conceptually sorry, I'm like alone, so I can't really like stop to drink, but I don't want that to go to waste. That's money. Are you, it's like it's a necessary evil. You almost have to like have it. You have to go through it. It's a shitty answer, but it's like you gotta know that just. So here's my thing, and maybe me saying this will have you understand it a little better, or like just comprehend on like why it has to happen. Because even me now going through it, if you guys know, even right now at this current point in my life, like in December, I'm quite literally my heaviest. A lot of physique poses haven't gone up recently from my end. And it's just quite literally, I'm not that I'm not happy with the way I look. Again, it's a necessary evil. I understand that. But I am not happy with the way I look. I'm a little heavier. I'm just being completely honest. But I think the problem with body dysmorphia is we look back at pictures where I was like, like me personally, right? Let me just say my story and then like I'll kind of issue it towards a general purpose. But me personally, with my demon of body dysmorphia, is like I'm looking back at like summer shredding files and Texas files of like, damn, I used to look that good, right? I used to look that good. Like, why do I look this heavy now? But I think it's a breakdown in the mindset of like, yeah, I looked that good, but you have to understand that there's more in store for you. Okay, I'm gonna let that sit because like you have to understand that you're gonna beat that come next cut or show or competition. When you're even on a powerlifting perspective, right? Like, because that's my foundation, and I know this is a bodybuilding topic, but you have to understand that when you're doing back downs at like an RPE 7 and doing volume work weeks and weeks on end, you just have to understand come platform day, it's going to get blown out of the water. And Taylor Atwood, we used to just be acquaintances and just training. Well, we are, and we're friends. When we constantly used to train at the same time, like I would ask him those questions, and he's just like, yeah, he's like, no one knows what's coming. Because he's in good cahoots with his coach, and he understands his place in the drawing board. He's playing his part, not himself, and he's executing. And then come show day or platform day, I'm sorry, he just blows it all out of the water again. And I don't even know how many years running. So like, congrats to you, Taylor, on that end, because ain't nobody fucking beating you until you retire. And same thing with Chris Bumstead, ain't nobody fucking beating him until he retires, because he's locked in with his coach, his eating habits, and his discipline. Period. And just to bring it full circle, you just have to trust the process. You have to understand that, yeah, you used to look like that, but stop thinking that you won't look better. Switch your mindset, right? I'm not saying completely wipe out body dysmorphia, because it happens. But you also have to understand that as skinny and lean as you once were, that you now want to be / look better, you have to understand that like it is literally that simple to like, okay, let me clean up the eating a little bit. Or like if you want to get heavier, let me just eat a little more. You just have to understand it's that simple. Like when you take the variables out of the equation, and this is quite literally just me giving you like coaching tips right now. When you're taking the variables out of the situation and you're able to control everything, you control the outcome. And you can't control everything, but you know what I mean. When your sleep's in check, when your food's in check, when your programming is in check. What could go wrong? Minus like a life catastrophe, what can go wrong? And you can't control the life catastrophes. That's what I'm saying. But you can't control how you react to it. Because God knows when shit goes wrong in life, if that's not the best gym session of your night or that week, you fucking yeet. You better, yeah. You know how much anger it took to silence me? When those funny Instagram things when people are like, how bad did it hurt? And like the physique shows? Yeah. This shit hurt. And use that shit as fuel, guys. If there's no answer, go fucking fight it. Go fight it till you pass out. And work your shit to the bone. Like, work out. That's an answer. But like I said, I'm gonna be, and where does, and I'll end it here because it's a question too. And how did social media, like, did it hurt the community? Did it not? Did it help it? Did it? I don't know. I don't know. I want to say it hurt it, but I don't think that's necessarily true because there is still good content out there. People like me are out there. People like Chris is out there. Like Christian is out there. Lovato, Donovan, and Taylor, they're out there. There's people out there honestly doing this shit. And then there's also like flames out there that are doing TikToks just to get an artificial like to change a life that nobody, to think they're changing a life, like I don't know. Like on an entertainment purpose, I don't know if that's wrong either. But like what I will say I don't like in the community is when people are using social traction with no accolades and no actual attributes within the community in terms of being a coach and stuff like that, just because they have followers and likes, that they think now they can become a coach and this and that, and they're like, buy my programs because they're putting their ass on the internet. That's where it bothers me. But then like also on the flip side of things, it also, in my opinion and my just understanding that I am on the younger side and in the social world, and I kind of want to do the sellout stuffish, and I don't really. We also, as just creators And just in a social world that we're in, we have to do better just to be at the forefront of things. We have to talk on things and nip them in the butt right away. I just don't like TikTok and all that. It's a race to the bottom of the barrel. The reels, the instant, like, I mean, unless there's like, you know, if you're doing it just for entertainment purposes and you want to get like a laugh or like a like, if likes are important to you, then do it. But don't leverage that into like, I know what I'm doing. I'm a coach. You know, and even me saying that, I mean, that's me getting in the way of someone's financial possible like growth, and like I don't know if I do that either. But like I'm saying, like wrong is wrong even if the whole world is doing it, and right is right if no one's doing it. Wrong is wrong if the whole world is doing it. Right is right even if no one's doing it. So I'm not gonna get on these trends of use this sound to get on the algorithm of Instagram to get. I don't care if I lose all my fucking followers. I don't give two shits about that. Because I know the one or two that I connect with on a weekly basis, which is fucking amazing. If I can like observe the masses and kind of like siphon them out in terms of like who's about it and who's not. If I can like connect with those few leaders and like the, you know, like the fighters, then it's all worth it for me. Nothing else matters. So I don't know if it's bad or good. You just have to know, I guess, where you lie on the table of social aspects. Because, like, right, I mean, people rob banks all the time. Are you going to not put your money in the bank? No, but you won't go to that specific bank. So if you know a certain camp is doing X, Y, and Z, and they're doing it for a like, and they're not doing really it for anything more, not to say it's right or wrong, like I said, it's just like something you don't want to do, then just don't associate with it. Because for every yin, there's a yang. There's no pros without cons, and there's no cons without pros. Life is a roller coaster. If we were straight or flatline, there's no excitement. It makes my job as an individual make me want to fight for like the right thing that much more. And more often than not, the person with the more validity often wins. Because, like, we just have a great, you know, like, base and a great camp behind us to, like, you almost don't even answer to the bullshit. I call that stuff, like, Twitter fingers. Like, right, because we all go home and we're like, you know, you would never confront anybody, but the people who just, like, don't, you know, like, love to talk shit, they'll look at you face to face, dab you up, and then go home and be like, I'm going to end this kid's life. Like, congratulations. You know? Real men and real women, when the lights are off and everybody's sleeping, that's when we work. When you guys don't see that stuff, that's when we're actually like, you know, I'm doing this shit, editing it, whatever. For me, it's this. For you guys, it may be something else. You guys just may be starting where I started years ago, or you may even be further than me, which I hope you are. You know, like, the point is just for me to help people. That's it. And that's what I'm saying. It's my spiel. Like, within my entire story and what I've been through and all the bullshit and this and that. And, like, every hardship is just, like, what I'm here for. Let's talk. Hit me up. Instagram, YouTube, whatever, DMs. I'm here. I want to help whoever you know. I can't know what you're feeling and stop with the, you know, like, I know who's hurting because everybody's putting up on Instagram in their stories something subliminal in terms of, like, yeah, you know how much pain I'm in, and like, but you won't admit that. That's what I'm saying. You're doing like 80% of it. You're telling the world socially you're in pain, but then like when someone asks you, all right, I'm good. So it's just weird, man. It's weird, but it's also weird because like I did it. So it's like, but that's what I'm saying. I understand it. I understand that I'm trying to help everyone. I'm trying to help you guys, and I think that's where we're gonna end it. And I want to give a huge shout out to my sponsor before I end it. Raw and Revive. Anything you guys need, it's code Yanni, and you're not just supporting me. It is directly supporting me, but it's supporting everything I'm doing. It's supporting our family, it's supporting Chris, it's supporting Dom, it's supporting our vision. We're trying to change the world one person at a time. It's just like one, right? How do you empty out an ocean? One spoonful at a time. You're going to be there forever, man. But imagine like one person trying to empty the ocean out with just a spoon. Right, thinking he can change the entire world. One person thinking he can change the entire world. Or one... No, hold on. Scratch that. The terminology is one guy with a bucket. So the bucket being the knowledge, and he's emptying out, like shuffling through the masses, which is the ocean. One guy taking a big-ass bucket and trying to empty out the ocean. And again, I know it's quite literally impossible. It's a figurative term right now. But as opposed to like maybe a couple 100,000 people to 1 million people, even with just a spoon trying to get water out of the ocean, spoons are going to go faster because there's just a lot more. It's a lot more of an individual effort from a group full of people that are just doing their part. Just do your part. Like I said, anything raw and revive. It's Cody Yanni. And seriously, like I have a boatload of questions that I can't wait to answer, and I'm going to do a better job probably staying more on track. But this is more of like an introduction and my story and stuff like that. So I think I did a pretty good job. More of it was more of my story and stuff like that and how it happened. And I answered some of the questions that are just directly relative to me right now in terms of like where they lay in my path and stuff like that. So thank you guys as always. I'd really appreciate it for those who did take the time out and watched it fully through. Maybe clip your favorite part, put it up, tag me in a story, or just send it to me. I'll put it up. Because I'm going to start doing that probably, clipping stuff. That'd be sick. Because fuck the Instagram algorithms. But yeah, if you appreciated this video, please, by all means necessary, subscribe, leave a thumbs up. This is not really the channel I'm like yearning for, but it's one I'm falling in love with, honestly. Even as opposed to, I love the other side of YouTube, which is just like more like the fitnessy content. But me sitting down and getting real with you guys, this is me. This is it. I can talk for 3 hours. This is it. Like I literally have to. I'm looking at the time to make sure I'm cutting myself short. So and not like talking forever. But I love this stuff. So give me topics, and I'll just write them down. Like I said, I have a notebook full of this stuff and conversations, and I'll be more than happy to just do this. Run it even little smaller episodes, like maybe 30, 40 minutes, and answer just like specific topics. But yeah, smash thumbs up. Love you guys. Subscribe if you want more.